let me say that I'm an old traditional hotelier. For me, I personally feel that the interaction of a staff is far important. But yes, there was a time the Taj had something like 5 people to a room. So when I had 650 rooms, we had something like 5,000 staff in Taj Bombay. But the changes that have happened when I went into the Vivanta, we came to one room to 1.5 ratio. Today, the ratios have come down to 1 is to 0.75. Now, what are the changes? Yes, earlier there was this thing that we always had a lot of staff coming to the customer and talking to them. That today we realize is becoming obtrusive service. You do not have to have every time a customer being disturbed by staff. Escorting is something that has gone away. There was a time everybody was escorted to the room and the guest was told about that this is going to be your minibar and this is your telephone and this is your so on and so forth. All that is now moved out. You do not require that. You don't require guest relations officers and PR executives. You do not require lounges. You do not require business centers. You do not require the old, 24 hours attendance in the gym. You could have a late night, people just go to the gym and can do it themselves. The airport reps are not required and you do not have customers to be brought in. So these are some of the things that I've noticed is changing. And I think as time goes ahead, we have to understand that technology is going to play an important role. But for me personally, in India, we have enough people and we must take care of the jobs and we should see a very nice balance between technology and human interface.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Veer Vijay. Let me now move to my second participant, Mr. Mubashir Shahab. Mubashir Saab, I would like to ask you that considering that you are actually helping so many hotel manufacturers oblique suppliers across the globe, who actually wish to come from the local scene to a global international scene. So you have your speciality there. What are some of the most technologically advanced products for the hospitality industry that you have seen in your in your many years of experience?
Thank you, Anilji. What I like to say is that there is two aspects to it. One aspect is from the hotel side, and obviously we're looking at different systems. And I was helping one of the very large company evaluating different types of systems. They're looking at it from the cloud-based platforms, so they have better analytics, so they can make better decisions. The more analytics they have, so we are not talking about the post-COVID area. We are talking about now and what they're going to do in the interim until we get over this hump, which can take, as you said earlier, it can take a long time. We are looking at more of these collaborative type of spend control tools. So we are helping them, bringing these different systems into the place to help the hotels to recover cost, going away from their the old procurement side. And I'm going to stick to the procurement side because we have all the other experts, and I don't want to sort of dive into their areas. The old time, the procurement was always about cost reductions and risk mitigations. That has changed, and there is a more and more emphasis on the artificial intelligence-based technology, which can help procurement make more sound and more long-term decisions. So that is the aspect for the hotel side. Now we're talking about the different supplier side. So when we're looking at it with the supplier side, there's a lot of there's a lot of recent supply chain shortages. There are more new border restrictions. There's a large scale layoffs, and there's a more emphasis on the local sourcing, either within the city, within the region, or within the country. So that is putting a lot of pressure. And in the supplier community, I was helping with more as a consultant, after enjoying my semi-retirement for a short period of time. What we are seeing is that you really have to win from a lot of different areas, and not only from the product quality side, but you also have to win on the pricing side. And then, as I said, there's a lot of sort of unknown factors at this time, which we don't know what it's going to look like 6 months down the road or 3 months down the road. Um, right now it's a kind of a blame game between the countries. So we really don't know. So we're trying to mitigate all those sort of, I would say, doubts which a lot of these suppliers have. So there's a lot of pre-planning going on right now. How are we going to do it? Which country is going to supply, or is going to be able to supply to which country, and so on, and what are going to be the restrictions on them. So it's a loaded question, and I'm sorry I don't have a clear, concise answer because there's a lot of unknowns in that side.
So, Mo, also tell us that how do you envision, technology driving the procurement in hotels? I mean, what in specifically, in hotels?
I think, as I said, sort of I touched upon a little bit in the earlier conversation. There has to be a lot of emphasis on going away from the traditional side to the new sides. And that is a very important, that you have to have data, and then you have to make your sound decisions based on the data. And that is going to be a big challenge for everybody. And we have to have systems in place. There's a lot of cloud-based systems in place right now. A lot of these companies, they're working together, bringing more collaboration between the systems. And there has been a lot of companies purchasing other companies like Ariba and Fieldglass. They've been bought by, they are joined hands with SAP, and then Basware, the Burr Street, and Oracle Cloud Procurement, and so on. So the hotels will have to have a little bit more of these technology-based artificial intelligence to make the right decisions. And I think that is going to be a winning game for the hotels going into the new era, because there's going to be a lot of pressure on the procurement. When they're making decisions, they have to come up with a sound decisions.
Okay, thank you, Mo, on that. And let me now move to Chef K and Vinod. Chef, welcome once again. My question to you was that what changes did you make at your restaurants when the COVID-19 conversations, or things that you started to hear about COVID-19 started happening across the United States? And how did your customers adapt to the changes that you made, pre-lockdown? Did you start making them pre-lockdown, or was it an afterthought after the lockdown that you started making your changes? Chef, can you hear me? Tushar, do we have Chef on the line?
Sorry, I was muted. That's why.
Okay.
You know?
Did you hear my question?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Okay.
First of all, I just want to thank you for the opportunity, and then the India International Hospitality Expo for the amazing job that you're doing. I was there last year, and I was really blown away by. And then, since we are talking about COVID, I'd just like to, with your permission, take a second to pay some respects to one of our colleagues whom we lost, who was a chef, a restaurateur, an ambassador of Indian cuisine, Floyd Cardoz.
Yes,
So
in New York.
in New York, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a big loss to him, and this is to you. Cheers to you, for my friend Floyd.
God
Okay, now
bless him.
coming back to the questions about what we did in the restaurants. Basically, all of a sudden, it came all of a sudden to us. We were not expecting it, right? So the first thing we did was the, the usual stuff like washing hands and all the procedures, putting on gloves, putting on masks, and increased your sanitation process. Uh, and then we were relying more on delivery. So we ramped up all our um, delivery platforms, DoorDash and Postmates. Uh, then, uh, stopped laying the tables with the silverware on the tables, and so basically contactless. So customers were ordering stuff, everything was via internet. Um, we had a curbside pickup, so when food is ready, people can come and go. So it is a continuous. I mean, we were learning along the way. And for example, I'll give you an instance that we blocked off the restaurant, and then the customer would come. We would go and drop off the food. So they had the gloves on, the mask on, and we kept the doors open, so they're not even opening they're not touching the knob. So there was a guest who watched this. Somebody went and dropped the food, came back, and then when he had another guest, they said they wrote me a big email saying that that person did not change the gloves after going out of the building. Maybe the instructor. So small things like that. So we had training was very essential. We have to be transparent. We have to communicate with the guests. So we use social media and what we are doing. We put it on the website. Um, a lot of restaurants have put plexiglass so that there's no contact with the guests directly. So basically, sanitizers, no-touch sanitizers. In the US, we had this, communal tables. It's all gone now. No more. You can't expect that to happen. People are talking about bar dividers at the bar counters, putting dividers. What do we are in the bathrooms, in the restrooms, the urinals, dividers,
Full
plexiglass,
dividers. Okay.
full dividers. Yeah. Then on the other side, when you're getting your vegetables, things like on the back end, you're using all those Ecolab provides those chemicals to wash the fruits and vegetables.
You mean right from the receiving area onwards?
Correct. Right. Then technology-wise, I think there's going to be a quantum leap in tracking and tracing, traceability. Where your product has come from. So these are some of the things as far as, and every day you're changing things. We're learning along the way. Uh,
Okay, Chef, there's one more question that I have for you. Can you tell us a little more about Kitchens of America and how is that working around the DC area? We've been reading about that and how it can be adapted, maybe, also here, maybe in India, I would say, for my listeners. Very interesting.
so there's an organization called the DC Central Kitchen. So that was started about 30 years ago. It was started by a bar manager, Robert Egger. He had a vision that there's a lot of extra food in hotels and restaurants. So he started going around collecting this food and he was distributing food. Then he noticed that the same people are coming again and again every day. So he said, this is not going to solve the hunger problem. So then basically he started this establishment called DC Central Kitchen, where they were taking people who did not have any jobs, basically people who are incarcerated, people who are on welfare, and then teaching them a trade. So as chefs, we would go there and train them. So there's a 18-week course, 14 weeks course, and then they're sent back to the industry. So that is how the DC Central Kitchen was born. And that is where Chef Jose Andre was involved with that. So he went on to open something called the World Central Kitchen. So again, basically World Central Kitchen is, again, using the power of food, to strengthen communities. So when there was any crisis, so he would go to different countries where we would go to Albania, Bahamas, Colombia, wherever there's a problem, he would go, they would serve food. So now under COVID, they've started a hashtag called Chefs for America. So basically what he did was, he is feeding people in hospitals. So the frontline healthcare providers, insecure families. But what he has done is, he has selected about 400, 500 restaurants all over the country, small independent restaurants, and told them, okay, we'll buy food from you. So you pack food for 500 people or 700 people a day, and So you're basically, the restaurateurs are happy, they're able to employ their people, and then he is also feeding the people, the needy. So this is a great thing. I was thinking that this something like on these lines, if can be you can work in India, instead of chefs for America, could be chefs for India or something like that. I think when Chef Sanjeev Kapoor was here last time, I took him to the DC Central Kitchen and gave him a tour of the kitchen, and he was very impressed. And Jose Andre invited him to his house, and so they had a talk about this. So
No,
I
so
know.
I'm sure that this way the small restaurants also can get occupied. I mean, those people who are I mean, don't have anything to do, they can also do something, and they it can actually help each other. Quite correct.
Yeah, I know. I understand that there are a lot of chefs in India who are doing this thing, but in a smaller scale. I
Yes, they
believe
are.
they're also doing something with the Taj Group, and in Delhi,
Yes,
a lot of chefs are doing that. But
yes.
something on a major scale, because a lot of these are supported by big foundations, Clinton Foundation, Obama Foundation, and big foundations, and then a lot of celebrities from Hollywood and things like that. So they're very well funded.
Okay.
Something.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Chef, for explaining this. Let me go to my next panelist, Mr. Harish Chandra. Harishji, I would like to ask you that considering that the world, really away from just hotels, the world has been pushed towards working from home, and virtually, what challenges did you face with this, in a company-wide transition? Can you tell us more about that? And thereafter, I also wanted to, ask you. There was one in one forum you had written that you wanted some of the property management system companies to reinvent a couple of things for, especially for hotels. So I'd like you to tell me about that also, Harish.
Thank you, Mr. Malhotra. Thank you, Aichi, for giving me opportunity to speak here. It's a great platform. You connect so many hoteliers, business partners together. Really appreciate this effort. Let me tell you my views here. Our industry started with bed. Later on, we added bath to it. Then we added breakfast to it. Then we added banquets to it. So a lot of B's we have added in our industry. Then what happened is we added a lot of technology B's like blockchain, bots, robots, business analytics. A lot of B's have come in our industry. And all of a sudden, after that, what happened is after A, B, then was D. C was missing. D is disruption. Your OYOs, fab hotels, technology companies, Booking.com, Make My Trip, they have disrupted our industry. I don't want to name any chain, but today biggest chain has got how many rooms, and their history is only 7 years, and biggest chains of India after 100 years are not able to make 100 hotels. So disruption has disrupted everything. Among this component of B, C, B, and D, what was missing was C, which is now Corona, which is hurting us. We were in a very big speed to go up, go up, go up, and now things have really changed. It is a very unprecedented time, difficult and strange time for our industry. Let me also give you some statistics which I was collecting this morning, which will be interest of all of us. The overall revenue of Indian hotel sector is expected to decline by approximately 90,000 crore in 2020, reflecting an erosion of 57% compared to last year. RevPARs in the organized segment are expected to decline by approximately 58%. Occupancy is expected to decline by 31.6%. Our organized hotel sector is expected to have a loss of 40,000 crore. This is very difficult time. Coming back to your question, what I feel is work from home needs special security architecture, home to office, cloud, security at endpoints, laptop, PCs, systems. At office, we have got firewall, we have got a lot of virus updates, a lot of security is inbuilt, security layers are there. But generally, most of the organizations focus on connectivity and tunnels like VPN, CASB. If you don't know about CASB, it is Cloud Access Security Broker, which acts as a security layer in between cloud applications. But without having control at endpoint, they all are useless. Once on internet, it is open to hackers. Another point is, what if user is accessing critical application and saves data on laptop or systems and take a copy? There has to be a control to regulate all these challenges. Cloud access security brokers, also known as CASB, acts as a security control point for cloud applications. Going beyond security, it is essential to quantify productivity of users, to find over underutilization of applications, saving on optimization of licenses or user. You can check whether the user is actually working, how many hours he was on application, what he did, what was his productivity. You can do his complete appraisal. Work from home can also help in reducing cost of operations by assuring that maximum workforce can work from home. TCS has decided 75% of their employees post-COVID will also work from home. Work from home has also reduced automation. Now, at offices, we have got a lot of security layers. Everything is safe, your Wi-Fi is safe, your systems are safe. But at home, we have to really make sure that data is secure, safe, effectively used, and all the resources are utilized properly. Now, coming back to other things, Mr. Vijay Bir Singh has very well told about hotel systems and how our technology will change and shape in future. From high tech, it is a time of touchless, contactless. No one will like to touch anything. Your menus in the room, everything is going to be QSR. There will be no magazine in the room. What if guest can open door lock using his mobile? What if lifts can take voice command to go to their floor, and in between it will not stop if any guest has pressed a button? Say, I'm going from ground floor lobby to 10th floor. Anyone else has pressed, say, on third floor, it should not stop there. Social distancing is very important now. Let me tell you another thing. What I feel is when a guest starts from his home, example, if he can wear a PPE, personal protection layer, if he goes to a taxi, he takes a temperature of taxi driver takes his temperature, say he goes to airport, in airport again the same thing happens, then all this data can come in one place so that we know the guest or passenger, we know our customer. So KYC can also be there, very effective for the guest, so that we know that this guest is not spreading COVID in hotel. We are just thinking how to create a good picture, rosy picture, so that our hotel is safe. But we should also think something how we can make our employees safe using technology by doing an interface of exchange information between travel agencies, airlines, hotels. Thank you. Did I miss on any point, Mr. Malhotra?
No. I think you just said it all in a gist. Thank you very much. And I would like to move to Mr. Mehan now. Mr. Shiv Kumar Mehan, I have one question for you. Considering the diversity of your portfolio, how will the safety norms in a camp or a boutique hotel differ from those in a bigger hotel, and how do you propose professing these even in your portfolio? Sometimes I know that you are working on a hybrid model at one city, whereas you might have a camp hotel at the other. Would you like to tell us something about that, please?
Yeah, thank you, Anil. Welcome to all the participants. Thank you for having panelists like us share views and ideas with all of you. I think I won't say much about what the situation is, and some of the esteemed panelists have already mentioned quite a few things in terms of basic norms, in terms of basic IT technology that would actually come into place. I'd break it down into two parts. First, coming to camps and then coming to boutique hotels. Camps, to a large degree, even resorts, we actually feel these are in remoter locations, and largely in a lot of places remain unaffected, safer environments, because there's lesser traffic and movement. Social distancing in camps and resorts and such is actually much easier vis-a-vis hotels in the cities or any other F&B sort of outlets. Our take on it is that for larger camps, we definitely see that your sanitized cabins would really work. These are cost effective. They actually do the job. of sanitizing a person from head to toe. Um, Fogging of tents, scrubbing of all services is basic. Wherever possible, it should be done after every guest checkout. Um, Screening of guests and their right from the beginning. I would definitely say that everybody should try and use the Arogya Setu app as much as possible. It would always be helpful in any sort of hospitality or catering operation. Your private transportation is what is actually going to be used the maximum when you're getting across to camps and resorts, which in itself is a major by default safety measure. And you're not using too many airlines, or you're not using other public transport. Um, Software enhancements. I think even for camps today, there are certain apps, mobile platforms. They allow you. They're not too costly for that matter. They allow you to do a lot of things and definitely take it on to a higher level of contactless service. You could be sitting in your tent. You can view your menus. There's softwares, for example, options like Gdesk, etc., which one can use to put in your requests wherever you might be. You don't need to call on people. You don't need to pick up your phones. You don't need to do anything of those sorts. So services can easily be managed across. um, the escalation matrix can always be managed where a service has been requested, and you know what sort of time it's being taken and what is the escalation matrix. People can follow it up and make sure that efficiencies of service are delivered. um, Going back to simple aspects like UV is another aspect which is going to come in, especially for non-edible and non-human surfaces. Whether it could be linen, it could be supplies, it could be basic items. UV makes a great disinfectant option for viruses. So handheld UV reflectors to scan baggages, and these are again inexpensive. Um, you've Staff management as well as is as important as the guest management in any of these camps. In our case, yeah, our entire team of people would actually be living at the camps. We are not propagating people moving in and out even for the next couple of months. And in a lot of cases, especially in our spiritual camps up towards Chardham, etc., it is a default system and always has been, which makes the entire ecosystem even more safer. Um, Purchasing and sourcing is another aspect where I think the industry would definitely need to focus. When we look at, there has to be a grading system, there has to be a labeling system that needs to be introduced. We have FSSAI and we have FBA, etc., everything that was already there earlier. But I think you know during through COVID and over the next, I would say at least the next 24 months or even 30 months for that matter, we would need to come in with a system, not just for the larger hotels, but even for the smaller hotels and resorts, whereby
And
sourcing
do you
channels.
think, Shiv, do you think that going local would be more preferred now than really depending on faraway places? I mean, within let's say more of vicinity sourcing rather than going to the metros and things like that.
Well, honestly, Anil, I think that would be relative to what you're actually procuring. You know, everything. I would definitely say for perishables, for vegetables, for daily produce, everything. Um, Especially for a country like India, I think for us, a certain level of organic is the norm. And for cities, even today, we depend upon the rural areas from outlying areas beyond the suburbs that actually cater to us. And I think that should continue for sure. For produce, yes, you will have to look at local, but yes, there are certain aspects. It could be anything from our guest amenities, it could be anything from our guest toiletries, etc. Of course, there one would have to go to other places. No hotel can get. You can only get coffee from the south. You can't get it from anywhere else. So those are
Okay,
not too many options.
one more thing, Shiv. When we are talking about, let's say, you know, a mix of your hotel. Like for example, if it were just a dorm hotel,
Mhm.
uh, I mean, will the ownership, how will you do that mix of social distancing, considering the budget strain? There are budget restraints in
Mhm.
such hotels. So I mean, you'll have to find a real mix. I think there you'll be actually on a tightrope there, and your bottom
Um,
lines would suffer.
well, in all honesty, Anil, that's not how we've actually planned the model. You see, the model that you refer to is first the first unit in our portfolio, which is called the Hideaway Beds, and there are another couple of them lined up. The entire model has been developed around a complete, what you might call, cost efficient but full delivery model. It's, I would say, it's a Gen Y model per se. So when you talk about the distancing across over there, this particular model is not a vertical building. It's not a composite model. We like our open spaces. It's the experience in for us in leisure hotels is very, very important, and you cannot have that experience in a cubicle sort of building. So yes, we have open spaces in the form of terraces. We have open courtyards that are attached. We have gravel spaces where people can sit. um, so this particular model is actually a hybrid. We offer rooms also at a very, very, I'd say, price comfortable point. The services are efficient, basic, and when it comes to the dorms, like I said, we have. It's not the standard hostel model like what everybody thinks. These are basically high-end dorms. You're talking everything from an 8-inch spring mattress to air-conditioned dorms, and the washrooms and everything have been done more on the lines of European hostels. It is very easy for us to actually reduce one bunk bed, and we actually separate bunk beds when we are actually allotting them. We have enough of them to go by, so a daily occupancy of about 16 or 20 bunk beds is not a problem. The rest of the room inventory can automatically support the model. So that's coming back to this particular model. So cost efficiencies is not too much of a problem. There's multi-skilling. There is low cost of put out. Buffets are not elaborate, and going forward, we will not be doing buffets anyways. It would
Okay.
actually be TDH.
Okay.
Um, so,
Okay, I
yeah.
hope that you're able to cope up also in that model, as you're saying you will. That's all the best to you, and thank you very much. Let me move to Himanshu call now, and as Himanshu is has been dealing with artificial intelligence, Himanshu, I would like to ask you. Do tell us that in the artificial intelligence systems that you've now built for hospitality, how would you help the hotels to operate them smoothly once the hotels are planning to open again? So I think this would be the right time for the hotels to maybe adapt such kind of systems. Himanshu?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Anilji, for inviting here. But one of the important things that we have been trying to learn over this period of short time is that suddenly there's been a rise of demand for voice assistants everywhere globally, right? So everything that we talk, all the panelists talked about contactless. How do we make it more automated and all those? I think one of the big things about what we have been working on is how does voice can be used more effectively in the hospitality industry. If you see on the consumer side, voice assistance has after it's probably the next revolutionary technology after smartphones. So consumers almost everywhere, at least wherever the voice assistants are there, they're very effectively using it. I think now what we have done is we have been working with hundreds of hotels across the world. We believe that voice could be a very interesting area wherein it can enhance the guest experience, it can enhance the guest engagement, and of course the whole contactless thing. So we have been very aggressively working with most of the hoteliers to understand, how we can help them and kind of deploy these voice assistants. The other big thing that we do is we integrate with a bunch of different backend applications, whether it's from Opera to Interel to Honeywell, housekeeping applications like Hot Sauce and everything. When you're able to, when the guests are able to control all of these things using their voice, it's very effective and very efficient for the hotel management as well. Sorry, Anilji. Yeah.
In the hotel, my next question is that in the hotel verticals, do you have scalability in your module? Because you see, maybe a lower end hotel is not using Opera, but he might want just a basic system where he has got access to maybe two or three interfaces. Like a bigger hotel might wish to just interface everything in the back end.
Yeah.
So is there a model which is in terms of affordability, I'm saying,
Yeah.
can artificial intelligence be made more affordable to budget hotels and not only the leisure hotels or the bigger hotels? What is your take on this?
Yeah, I think artificial intelligence as such, I mean, it's a very broad topic, but some form of it already exists. Like, I mean, almost every hotel does use some kind of a chatbot. Everybody has developed their own hotel apps and all those, a lot of hotels also have tablets. But if you see, to be honest, and we come from academics and we come from the technology background. So we always like to do and understand and do a lot of research before we do something. So, and we realize, so we have spoken to some of the biggest hotels and, and also budget hotels as well. Everybody has a chatbot, they have the hotel apps, but if you, to be honest, you ask any GM or if you ask any property owners, the adoption is less than 5%. In some of the hotels, we have seen the adoption to be less than 1%, right? I mean, the challenge there is it's great to invest in some of these technologies, but we, as a hotelier, you also need to understand and realize quickly whether it is working well or not, right? In the current scenario, what we see, and as we have been talking about the, life after lockdown, and as Rakeshji was mentioning earlier, you will probably not see guests, the guest coming in trying to hug or, shake hands and all those. I think even in our natural daily lives, I mean, I walk around and, people actually don't want to touch me. They just kind of move away, kind of side to me, right? So more and more those kind of things are happening. Also, what I believe, I think the new technologies that we're going to see is more of, as I think Shiv was mentioning that about the UVC and, or the fever thermal imaging through facial recognition and all those kind of things. I think those are going to be pretty big. And again, voice assistant is not that expensive. The only challenge that we have seen is consumer voice assistants. Most of the hotels are not deploying is because of the number one is the privacy reason. So that was one of the reasons why we had to go back and figure out a way, how do we, remove, how do we solve that privacy issue? So some of the other, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I have two more questions for you. The first question is that with the relevance to COVID, have you made any progress on giving new features or something to your voice assistant, which is more COVID friendly, or to help the get this scare out of the customer from the COVID point of view? Is there?
Yeah. I think more importantly, when things open up and the businesses open up, I think the guests or even customers, they need to be assured that the property is safe to walk in, right? I think it's going to be a norm everywhere to see, people will feel confident if a hotel has or a property has deployed some kind of security measures, like whether it is kind of a fever thermal imaging that we are currently developing and almost developed on that part. So with Woohoo, we can actually understand whether somebody is, if he is having a fever, you could actually tell them, or somehow restrict them, right? So I think those are some of, and of course, some of the things that we have been working is also on the telehealth side. The moment somebody falls sick or he's complaining of any kind of health issue, they should be immediately able to connect to some kind of a doctor as well. So if it's not available in the property somehow. So those kind of things we have been actively working on. So yeah.
Okay. And when it comes to the this particular hardware,
Yeah.
is it it's totally touchless? You can just speak with it, and you say that it doesn't have any privacy issues.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the whole point of voice sense is that it's very natural, right? I mean, the world is moving and eventually will move from touch to voice based. I mean, it's not going to happen automatically, but it's going to take some time. But as we have seen, like in US especially, and I'm pretty sure in India also, people have stopped taking out cash. As Chef Vinod was saying, I mean, everything is happening over through touchless, like whether it is through Apple Pay or those kind of things. Similarly, voice allows that degree of, having that, I don't need to touch a tablet or I don't need to touch switches. I don't know whether they have been sanitized or not. I think voice is going to become a big play. And eventually, even facial recognitions are going to be becoming a norm kind of a thing, So, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Himanshu. And then I think I'm going to go back. Well, we had a lot of thoughts from most of our, I mean, from all our panelists here. Let me go back now, and as to wrap up this session, I would like to ask at the end each participant for a one or two line takeaway as a conclusion, if I may ask. Let me start with Veer Vijay. Would you like to sum it up in one or two lines what we've been discussing, putting together with all of us? Your thoughts on that, Vijay? Veer
No,
Vijay?
Anil, I think it's a great to hear people from United States, people with hotel background, people with IT background. These are very important learnings. I just want to say a few things. And I was seeing some of the questions. Uh, let's not be extremely scared about it. Yes, it's a difficult time, but all we are trying to do is assess it and see that we make steps and plans to see that we don't get into a fix. uh, we will go through this. Once the vaccine comes out, people will get back to normal. But some of the things that people have been asking, the questions have been food and beverage related. So like
Yes.
banquets, I remember when I was in Sri Lanka, we had only sit downs. You had buffet with seatings. You didn't really, or you just had sit downs. They never understood a system of standing and having food, what we do in India. So maybe
That's
banquets will get into that. The restaurants will have spacing will be much better. You will have more self-service kiosks. You will have handheld devices which will tell you if there is a bacteria. The room service, if you remember in Taj Palace when we were there, we used to have a very nice kind of, it came up in 86, that you could have your room service being served in every executive room by a small cutout. So you didn't have to interact with this room service boy. So if it is a shoe that has to be polished or laundry that has to be given or the room service tray that has to be coming in, you could get it from a cutout on the besides the door. So these are
yeah.
some of the things that will happen. I personally feel we as leaders, as just end in 30 seconds, we as leaders need to play a role of being positive. And if
Yes.
we are getting too scared, we will be scaring all our owners, we'll be scaring our staff, we'll be scaring our guests. I can assure you things will improve. It's a matter of all of us coming together. Being prepared is very important, but things will go well. And you will see in the next 3 to 6 months things changing for the positive. Thank you.
Thanks, Viru. Thank you very much. Let's go to Mo and ask him for his views. Mubashir Saab, would you like to sum it up?
Um,
So, and
as
sorry
my
for keeping you awake till
that's
this
okay.
hour.
That is okay. Uh, I have the very similar thoughts because I think you can always dwell on negatives, but the end of the day we really have to look at the positive sides. And yes, there are a lot of negative things happening. Yes, there is a low demand. There is supply issues. There's all kinds of things happening. The hotels, many of the hotels companies, they're having difficulty surviving, and but they're also looking at a lot of alternatives. What else can they do? Sometimes we all have to go through these things, and the businesses have to really think about it, the innovative ways. And what we are finding it in my recent discussions with some of the hospitality leaderships, uh, it just brings them back, and they're out of the box thinking, and they are looking at ways how can they really work out, not only now but even the later stages. Some of the hotels, if they can financially viable, what they're trying to do is they're trying to clean their hotels, they repair everything what they can do without adding a lot of major new infrastructures, but they're trying to do a lot of different things. And some of the governments are helping, like in Canada, uh, the government is giving back 75% of the wages to the hotels, or any business which are bringing back their employees. So it's better than going on the unemployment insurance. So the hotel are utilizing those assets, and they just have to be kept busy, and they have to work under the new whatever the new normal circumstances are with the social distancing and everything else. So there's a lot of positives coming out of that aspect as well. So I think that we are going to come out as winner at the end. It is temporary, and there is a light at the end of this tunnel, whatever time it's going to take. So,
Right. Thank you, Mo, for your views. Let me go to Chef Vinod. Chef, a couple of lines from you as a sum up, please.
For sure, Sobs. Am I muted
Yeah,
or no?
yeah. No, no, you're audible.
Oh, okay. So, as I said, these are challenging times, but there are also opportunities. So, my takeaway to restaurateurs, hoteliers is going to be: it's not going to be that rosy soon until unless we find a vaccine and things like that. So, hold on to your cash. Control your costs. Um, Go and think of modernizing your equipments. Now, these are times where people are going for combi ovens and things like that, where you can save on labor, save on, and have smaller menus and things like that. And also, last but not the least, don't forget about Chefs for America, so Chefs for India. What I was telling about the World Central Kitchen and the DC Central Kitchen, they're beautiful models. Somebody should really seriously look into it.
Thank you, Chef Vinod. Thank you for giving us your views. Let me go to Harish now. Harish ji, would you kindly let us know what is your take on this? Harish?
I'm
Harish, yeah.
there now.
Okay.
What I'm saying is technology will play important role in winning customer heart. We need to do something so that we give a comfort zone to guests that he's safe in our hotel. If you're not able to win his heart using technology, we cannot get customers. Now, a lot of things we have covered, but I think what we have not covered is hotel revenue will go up. Now, guests will be scared to use Uber or Ola or any other third party. He will always prefer to use hotel cab or say a cab of rent a car or ITH. They are much more better, cleaner, whether he has to pay more. So hotels can make money using taxi, their own taxi. Consumption of water in hotels is going to be more now because guests will wash hands 10 times, 20 times. So we have to be careful to have more water. We missed on robots. Robots will do cleaning of guest rooms and public areas. The concept of BYOD, bring your own device, will be implemented. Earlier, it was not so popular. Hotels used to provide their own iPads, but that will be a passe now. Few companies have started using bands, a band for maintaining social distancing. Say if two employees are close, it will automatically vibrate. It is already implemented in countries like Philippines and Singapore. we have Arogya app, so they have something different. Now, major expenditure of hotels will be on some of costly, expensive items like sanitizing tunnels, your CCTV cameras, which can measure body temperature of a guest. Those are coming in a range of 2 lakhs to 4 lakhs. Now,
Yes.
Indian government should do something to make sure that this is additional burden to hotels. They should remove duty on all those things so that our industry can survive and government can earn revenue through taxes. This is what I will say.
Okay. Thank you, Harish, on that. Let me go to Shiv now. Shiv, could you give us a synopsis on your thought stream, please?
Thanks, Anil. I think like what earlier Mr. Veervijay Singh has mentioned and others have mentioned, I still feel that this problem, I think we've got a situation of over information. There's too much happening. Go back to the basics. Don't worry too much. It's just a couple of months. Things will start coming back to a certain level of normalcy. There will be a new normal, of course. We expect that the hotel and the catering and the F&B industry should start bouncing back by next year, and we should be well back by next year on track to where we were supposed to be. Um, Having said that, the only thing I can leave everybody with is utilize this time to improve, to innovate, to reevaluate what you've been doing in the past. You need to unlearn a lot of things that we've been doing in the past. We've taken too many things for granted. So, come back to basic cost efficiencies of operation, extremely important cost efficiencies of manpower and payroll. Refocus on hygiene. It's not just COVID. I think the hotel and catering industry always had a certain level and a certain consciousness on hygiene. I think we need to reinforce that even better. And of course, add on to the entire range of chemicals that we were already using. So refocus on that, but I think it should be fine. We need to have a bit of patience. Let's not overthink it. It should be all right. If your guests are comfortable and you can give them the assurance of safety, they'll all be fine, and so will you.
Very good. Thank you. Let me go to Himanshu and just take his views, what he has to
Yeah.
say. Himanshu?
Yeah, I think I guess all the panelists have said the same thing. So, and in fact, in the starting itself, Mr. Veer also mentioned gave the example of how Taj kind of through one of the most unfortunate incidents came back to life, and still popular. I think it's just a matter of time. Things will start opening up soon, and it will be back to business. I think from our side, we are what we always keep suggesting is technology is going to be more used, I would say, and it should be used more effectively and efficiently. Bring in more automation. I think somebody mentioned about the robots and all those. I think these are all going to be part of it. From our side, we think we have been focusing a lot on voice as such because that kind of is part of that's the next big thing happening out there. And I would also recommend some of the hotels who focus on consumer voice assistants probably may not be the right choice because of the data privacy things, but if cost is of concern, then maybe yeah. But I think we should all be looking forward to opening up businesses soon and things getting back to normal. Let's be hopeful. I think that's the whole spirit of mankind. Yep.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you very much, Himanshu, for your words on that. And before I thank everybody, I think I would just like to sum it up in a few words also. Well, let me tell all our viewers today and everybody in the panel that it's a fact, we are here to stay, and if we have to thrive, we have to become tech savvy. This is the way I would say it. And to become tech savvy, this is the time. Do it now. To win back your customer trust, you have to invest in technology, and I would say do it soon. So stay safe, stay home till this lockdown is over, innovate, and get technology into the system. I would like to thank all the panelists. Thank you, IHE. Thank you, EPCH. Thank you for organizing this, and all the viewers who took time out. And of course, a special thanks to my overseas guests who are here. I think it must be past 3 a.m. in the morning. Have a good morning, rest, and thank you very much for being here. Bye bye.